The morning sun, usually a cheerful beacon, felt heavy and melancholic as it filtered through the large reinforced windows of the primate sanctuary in Gainesville, Florida. Dr. Alan Peterson, a man whose life revolved around the well-being of these magnificent creatures, watched with a bittersweet ache in his chest as Caesar, a robust chimpanzee with dark, intelligent eyes and a surprisingly gentle demeanor, played vigorously with a group of younger chimps. Caesar wasn't just another primate in Alan's care. He was a testament to the extraordinary bond that could form between species. He had been raised since infancy by Sarah Miller, a brilliant and compassionate primatology student whose heart, it seemed, beat in sync with the rhythms of the animal kingdom. For 15 years, Sarah and Caesar had been inseparable. Their bond was not just emotional but intellectual. Sarah had meticulously taught him a simplified form of sign language, a series of gestures and vocalizations that allowed them to communicate on a level that astonished even seasoned researchers. Every new sign Caesar mastered, every nuanced expression of understanding, filled Sarah with an immense sense of pride and a profound belief in the depth of primate intelligence. Their connection was a tapestry woven from countless hours of patient interaction, shared laughter, and a mutual understanding that transcended words. Sarah often joked that Caesar understood her better than most humans. However, the sanctuary, like all living organisms, was constantly evolving. The arrival of several new, rescued primates, combined with the urgent need to expand facilities to provide even more enriched environments, led to a difficult but seemingly necessary decision. The administration, after extensive consultations, determined that the older, more adaptable chimpanzees, including Caesar, would need to be relocated to a sprawling, state-of-the-art sanctuary in California. This move was presented as a strategic measure to optimize space and offer the animals an even more natural and expansive habitat, fostering larger social groups. The news struck Sarah with the force of a physical blow. Mr. Henderson, the sanctuary director, a man known for his stoicism, struggled to deliver the news, his voice unusually soft, his eyes reflecting a shared sorrow. "It's for his own good, Sarah," he repeated, almost as if trying to convince himself. Sarah knew, on a purely scientific and logistical level, that it was the sound decision for Caesar's long-term well-being and social integration with more of his own kind. Yet, her heart, a raw, exposed nerve, screamed in silent protest. The thought of a life without Caesar, without their daily rituals and unspoken understanding, was unbearable. The day of Caesar's departure was marked by a thick, oppressive fog that clung to the trees and buildings, mirroring the desolation in Sarah's soul. The air hung heavy, damp and cold, as if the very atmosphere wept with her. She said her final goodbyes to Caesar, her eyes stinging with unshed tears, her hands trembling uncontrollably as he wrapped his powerful arms around her in a familiar embrace. Caesar, always perceptive, seemed to sense her profound sorrow. His intelligent eyes, usually bright with mischief, were clouded with a sadness that mirrored her own, fixed intently on hers as if trying to decipher the immense pain that was tearing them apart. She whispered a promise that she would return, a desperate vow she wasn't sure she could ever fulfill. The image of the transport truck, its engine rumbling, slowly pulling away, carrying Caesar into the unknown, was seared into her memory. The subsequent years were an aching void. Sarah continued her work with primates, dedicating herself to research and conservation, but the vibrant joy and unbridled passion she once felt seemed to have dimmed. She tried repeatedly to contact the new sanctuary, but their strict policies regarding human contact with newly adapted animals, designed to ensure a smooth transition and minimize stress, proved to be an impenetrable barrier. News of Caesar was scarce, fragmented, and always indirect. She wondered constantly about him, if he was happy, if he remembered her, if their extraordinary bond had simply faded into the mists of time. With each passing year, the fragile flame of hope for a reunion flickered, threatening to extinguish completely. If you're finding Sarah's story compelling, hit that subscribe button. Every subscription helps us bring more heartwarming and realistic tales to life. And remember, this is a fictional story crafted for your entertainment. 15 long, arduous years had etched their mark on Sarah, but the memory of Caesar remained as vivid and raw as the day they parted. Now a distinguished primatologist of 37, her expertise sought after globally. She dedicated her life to conservation projects, yet an unspoken emptiness persisted. She instinctively avoided primate sanctuaries, paradoxically, because the very presence of other chimpanzees intensified her longing for Caesar. Then, one quiet evening, while perusing a niche online forum dedicated to advanced primatology research, a grainy amateur video caught her eye. It depicted a robust chimpanzee in a sprawling naturalistic enclosure at a sanctuary she hadn't recognized, somewhere in California. The animal, a powerful male with a familiar intelligent glint in his eyes, bore an uncanny resemblance to her long-lost companion. The video offered no specific details about the chimp, no name, no history, but a seed of doubt, then of desperate hope, began to germinate within her. It was a long shot, a needle in a haystack, but the dormant hope which she thought had died years ago stirred to life with an almost painful intensity. Driven by an unshakable conviction, Sarah confided in her trusted colleague and dear friend, Dr. Marcus Bell. Marcus, a renowned ethologist with an encyclopedic knowledge of animal behavior, immediately recognized the profound depth of Sarah's desire. He dedicated himself wholeheartedly to her quest. Together, they embarked on a painstaking investigation. Their initial findings revealed that the Californian sanctuary was indeed highly respected, known for its ethical practices and advanced research. However, it also maintained extremely stringent visitor policies, deliberately designed to minimize any potential stress to the animals and ensure their natural adaptation. Direct human contact, especially with individuals not part of their designated caregiving team, was strictly prohibited. The regulations, written in bold, unequivocal terms, felt like an insurmountable barrier. Yet Sarah and Marcus were not easily deterred. They delved deeper, meticulously researching public records, cross-referencing behavioral patterns, and leveraging Marcus's extensive network within the global primatology community. Through a fortunate connection, an old mentor of Marcus who happened to be on the sanctuary's advisory board, they managed to secure a unique and incredibly rare special permit. It wasn't an immediate reunion, but an observation opportunity. The sanctuary was planning a limited public event, primarily to raise crucial funds and educate the public about primate conservation efforts. This, they were told, would be Sarah's only chance to see Caesar, or the chimpanzee she fervently hoped was him, from a safe, respectful distance. The journey to California was long, each mile stretching into an eternity, filled with a torturous mix of anticipation and trepidation. The sky above was a brilliant, cloudless blue, but Sarah's mind churned with a storm of uncertainties. Would he be different? Would he remember her? Had 15 years erased every trace of their profound connection from his memory? Marcus, ever the calm anchor, gently reassured her, reminding her that regardless of the outcome, simply attempting this reunion was an act of profound courage and love. Upon their arrival, the sheer scale and grandeur of the sanctuary immediately impressed her. The enclosures were vast, meticulously designed to replicate natural habitats, and a vibrant sense of life permeated the air. Sarah's heart pounded against her ribs, a drumbeat of destiny. The moment was fast approaching. Is Sarah about to get her wish? Don't miss the thrilling conclusion. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss Chapter 3. The day of the sanctuary event dawned bright and effervescent, a stark contrast to the tumultuous emotions swirling within Sarah. The air was crisp and dry, carrying the earthy scent of flora and fauna, an aroma that had always evoked memories of the wild, untamed beauty of nature. A modest crowd had gathered in front of one of the largest enclosures, a sprawling, meticulously crafted habitat where several chimpanzees were engaged in playful antics. Sarah, strategically positioned amongst the eager visitors, fought to control her ragged breathing, her hands clammy with anticipation. Marcus stood steadfastly by her side, his hand a comforting anchor on her arm. As the visitors observed the captivating antics of the primates, the lens of a dedicated wildlife enthusiast, diligently filming for an upcoming online documentary, honed in on a particular chimpanzee. He was a large, powerfully built male, his dark fur gleaming in the sunlight, his eyes incredibly expressive, holding a depth of intelligence that seemed to pierce through the glass enclosure. Sarah felt an electric current surge through her. It was him, Caesar. He was older, his features more defined, bearing the marks of a full-grown male, but the intense, familiar spark in his eyes was unmistakable. At the very moment the documentary camera zoomed in, inadvertently capturing Sarah's anxious face in the background of the shot, something extraordinary happened. Caesar, who had been placidly foraging for fruit, suddenly froze. His body tensed, his head snapped up, and his eyes widened, fixing on a specific point in the distant crowd, directly on Sarah. A hush fell over the small gathering. The chimpanzee, seconds before so calm and engaged, began to emit a series of excited vocalizations, a unique blend of high-pitched calls and distinct hoo-hoos that only Sarah would recognize as his unique expressions of excitement. Then, with an explosive burst of energy, he dashed towards the fence, his powerful hands thudding against the ground, his arms rising in a gesture that sent a wave of pure recognition through Sarah's entire being. It was the precise, emphatic plea for a hug he had used as a small infant. Overwhelmed, raw emotions flooded through her. Tears streamed down her face, hot and fast, as she fought a losing battle to suppress a raw, guttural sob. It was as if the 15 long years of separation had simply evaporated, erased by a single, profound look. Caesar continued to call out to her, his eyes brimming with an emotion so deep, so profoundly human, it transcended the boundaries of species. Sarah couldn't contain herself. Disregarding the sanctuary's strict rules, ignoring the silent, stern warnings from the nearby security personnel, she pushed through the crowd and hurried towards the fence, extending her trembling hand towards him. She couldn't physically touch him, but the mere proximity, the shared air, was a miracle in itself. Caesar pressed his powerful muzzle against the mesh, his nose almost touching her outstretched fingers, and their gazes locked in a moment of pure, unadulterated recognition and unconditional love. That precise, breathtaking instant was captured by the documentary camera, and the image would soon spread across the internet, touching the hearts of millions around the world. Despite the physical barrier, the reunion was a resounding testament to the enduring, unbreakable bond between them. Sarah knew with absolute certainty that Caesar was thriving in a good place, happy and fully adapted to his new life. And more importantly, she knew that her memory, their shared history, remained vibrantly alive within him. She vowed to herself that from that day forward, she would dedicate her efforts to supporting the sanctuary, perhaps even one day, earning the privilege of a more direct interaction. The arduous journey had reached its poignant conclusion, but the extraordinary story of love, devotion, and profound connection between Sarah and Caesar would continue to inspire, a beacon of hope in a world often too quick to forget the power of genuine, interspecies bonds. Thank you for watching. We hope Sarah and Caesar's story touched your heart. If you enjoyed this journey, please subscribe to our channel for more compelling and realistic human-animal stories. Remember, this is a fictional narrative created for entertainment purposes.